Some of you may have met Francis. Some of you may know who he is. Um, if you've met me in real life, then you know that if you call me that, I will correct you. Because Francis killed himself. Francis killed himself in like 2019. I guess he got sick in like around like in 2017, 2018. And then there was a final straw in 2019. And he is no longer with us. But he was a nice guy, and he knew that his family would be affected. And also maybe didn't have what it took to take the body with him. But in any case, he left me this body, asking me to keep pulling the strings for a little bit, keep his family happy, and then also he knew there was work to be done. And even though he was like, I can't get anything out of this world, he knew there were things that can maybe be contributed to the world. And anyway, he and I met probably. I was probably like on his shoulder for a while, hovering about. And then in 2019, he was like, fuck this. I mean, I didn't help him. I wasn't his coach or anything. I was just another occupant of, well, I don't know. Anyway, but then he gave me full access to the body. So here I am, Eris. And I want to think of it that way. I actually, to be honest, I don't know why I like thinking of it that way. But I thought of it that way a couple days ago. Loved it. I spent an hour telling someone. Francis killed himself and explaining why. One reason I like thinking about it that way is it's because it feels like an afterlife. See, here's the thing. After Francis killed himself, in like 2019, he gave me the body, and I was like getting used to it for a little bit. So he killed himself April 1st. April 1st, 2020. And then this body was out of an apartment in on February 4th. Sorry. I don't want to repeat again the bad words. He exited April 1st, 2019, and we exited the apartment February 4th, 2020. So 10 months later. And it's been awesome. It's been awesome. His parents have been, because the bodies need food. And sometimes I forget that. I haven't actually eaten today. But I have had a lot of whiskey. His parents basically sustain this body. They like seeing the face of their son walking around. And plus, since I was always on his shoulder, it's not like they didn't know me, you know. And anyway, so why do I want to think about it that way? And I don't even want to phrase it as, because I really want to think of it that way. So I don't want to talk about it as just the way that I'm thinking about it. So I'm going to continue to be quite literal. So the reason that that's the case, the reason that it makes me happy to tell you about it, well, not to tell you about it, but to see it that way, is one, it feels like an afterlife. it I had a good like 28 years. Obviously, there's a lot more to accomplish or to see and to experience and so on, but it was good, and I tried. Um, Francis tried, and he was like, "Nah, 21st century Earth." All right, so why do I like? It just feels like fucking extra. It doesn't. It maybe it takes the pressure off. My lifetime ended prematurely. I was in an inhospitable environment, couldn't do it. So I'm not gonna. Plus, that would have been difficult. Now I. But anyway, um, that's one thing. So it's like I mean, it adds a chapter, I guess, or something. Another reason is for other people. I shouldn't laugh. It. I really like the idea of you also seeing it that way. Francis is gone. And hey, anything you would want to say to him, you can say to me. Any closure you need, you can talk to me. But the tobacco, the alcohol, the risks, obviously they're gonna catch up to this body. And if I don't find another body, even I will be gone. Or maybe there will be someone else in this body. But I'm like good. I mean, I couldn't stay here forever, but I'm like good now. Just kind of waiting for this to catch up, really. But I can find stuff to do until then. I'm working on these videos all the time, and just keep doing more and more and more of the it theory and the thinking and the videos and blah blah. Um, Also, it's like it's really nice because it's like anything that and if so I'm 30, I'm going to be 33 in a week or so, which is of course an age that I've always had in mind for Francis always had in mind, but he didn't make it to 33. And you know, sometimes I think about, oh my gosh, I have a list of about 200, 300 names for my children that I started back in like 2010, that Francis started. I haven't really added much to it, to be honest. Huh. But I there are like life things, human life things, like having children, having a family. Oh, 21st century humans maybe get a house. Um, uh, and and sometimes I'm like, holy shit, how am I gonna switch over to that? I've been so focused on one sort of. Well, I've just been focused on the work or regret not doing enough work. And I'm not going to stop the work that I'm doing for a salary for diapers. Which it's a very noble expense, diapers. That's not the issue. The issue is that it's the salary thing, the doing a job. other than this. If someone pays me to do this, if I can do a think tank, if I can work in a lab, if I can do YouTube, great. Then, maybe I'll be able to have a family. Maybe we'll even resuscitate Francis. But for now, real life things don't seem possible. And also because, like, for the YouTube thing, I don't want to make content for the masses. And that's no disrespect to the masses. It's just that I'm doing a thing. And I don't want to adjust that to what's in demand in the time that I'm making it. And I know that I'm a human and that I will. If I've got thousands of people going, we love when you do this, less of that, please, that's going to trigger things. I will be doing more of the thing they want and less of the other thing. Let me be a martyr, bro. Let me just do my thing. Let me be pure. But if I want to maintain that purity, kind of means no family, kind of. Because to have a family now, you do need to enter into the capitalist thing, and no. So that can be sad. Oh man, I always thought that I was going to have a family. Oh wait, Francis killed himself. So I died a while ago. This husk is just being occupied by this philosopher that calls himself Eris. And that's all he is. That's all he is. He is just that. Thinking about them. And it's great for, like, as an autistic, love that. Like, it's okay if that's it. If that's all that I am. 24/7. So it takes the... Oh, shit. Alright, well... Oh, man, I really want to upload that video tonight, but no internet. No. Alright, anyway, so we should turn the lights out too. We're running low on battery. But we're keeping the lights on for a little while. Like, this is not like a sad thing. This is like, just objectively speaking, let's all agree to look at it this way. Francis was smart, kind, wanted to be a neuroscientist, get his PhD in neuroscience, then be a professor. And then, like, socially and academically and on a lot of leaves, the systems that are in place today didn't match for him. He didn't want to hurt anybody, so he quietly left. He asked me to take over. That's fantastic. If you knew him, you knew some things changed. I mean, you always knew he was weird and he was going to do something like live outside. But, then you really saw those things happen when I took over. And listen, it's old news. Happened 5 years ago now. I mean, it was like between 2017 and then 2020, it was fully unplugged. And you're okay. Everything's okay. And then we just, sort of let that soak in and understand, okay, cool. There's a lot that I can have from Eris that I might miss from Francis. And also, now it's just a decision you gotta accept now. It's already done. He's already gone. And I think that's my maybe my favorite part of it. The idea of somehow, obviously I don't have the wording perfect, but getting my family to see this as some extra time. And like, you can't be sad right now. You can't be sad that Francis couldn't do it and that he killed himself. Because, look, I'm here and you can talk to me and you can take advantage of that. Whereas, and here's another thing. Francis could never really talk to people about suicide. Because, well, they'll tell you, yeah, you can talk to me about it, and then they'll start crying as soon as you do. And they'll say, no, stop it. Blah, blah, blah. Or one time Francis called a hotline, and then some police came to his campus, and he was put in the hospital for a night. And he was actually kind of already over it. And that doctor came and saw him for like 10 minutes. I mean, you don't really get a chance to like... When he called the hotline, they immediately were like, where are you? Before he even got a chance to like talk to someone. He just kind of said, oh, I'm feeling not so great. And then, and they're like, where are you? And he was like, this is a bad move. So I hung up and went and talked to some friends. And then campus police and not state police, local police come knocking on the door. All right, Patrick, Ethan. Charlie. Let's see you guys. I gotta go. Yeah, you guys are overreacting, officers. Or it just wasn't the right reaction. It would have been nice if he could have actually had like a 40-minute conversation with someone one time in his life. Where he's not just like telling his history or whatever, but he's like saying, I don't want to be here for this reason, blah, blah. And there's an actual exchange where it's like acceptable, the idea that he not want to be here. Because that's the only way that you could possibly get to a point in the conversation where, like, Francis is convinced otherwise, is if he's talking to someone who is, like, open-minded. But, they would never hear you. They would never hear the things that frustrate you, the hopelessness that you feel. And so he can never talk to anybody. His mom would keep telling him, you make sure to stay healthy, brush your teeth, stop smoking, stuff like that. And he's like, do you hear me? I don't actually even want to be here. But, okay. But, you're gonna be here for another, 40 years, so make sure you're nice to look at. So he's gone. The amazing thing is, you don't have to feel bad. Because I'm here. And we can talk about Francis's feelings. We can talk about there is a clock on this body. But the decision's already made. I guess there's going to be some regret because there are no more conversations to be had. Francis may have been able to, probably not. I was always on his shoulder anyway. Seem maybe could have been convinced. Anyway, in any case, I don't think so. And no. What brings me peace is knowing that this body's going to rust. And this mind's going to go elsewhere. Of course, really speaking, we're brains. So once the brain stops functioning, that's it. But there's no darkness or anything. That's literally it. And that brings me so much peace. So I'm happy to keep working here. Working on these videos. I have making my memoirs, Francis's memoirs. Got those journals at home. Asked his parents to put them in like a fireproof safe or something. And then once this body goes and there's no more immediate representative of Francis, because I still consider myself a representative because I was with him so long. And then, publish those. And I'm going to keep contributing to these works in case they are anything. And but this is not like a rental. I'm not returning this, so I can do whatever the fuck I want with it. And also I don't expect to be using it very long anyway. So I'm just gonna keep doing what I have to do in order to keep the work done. And by the way, anybody who was really close to Francis knows that Francis was never as productive as Eris. Francis sometimes was productive, but a lot of times just couldn't do anything. Too much anxiety and so on. And I kept telling him, gotta smoke, gotta drink, but he was against it. But we are now, in 2024, fully embracing it. I don't even think we could be an alcoholic, because I would be an alcoholic by now. I think I got a body that... Also, I just don't enjoy... I don't understand. Look. I'm not going to do... We're not going to do any other hard drugs until we've gotten some more work done. But... we'll end on that quote. Sometimes I like to say... I have too much work to do to be sober. Or to stay sober.